And live on the marketplace, here's what's coming up in the next 30 minutes. Ghana-Burkina Faso Railway Interconnectivity Project to begin next year. We'll tell you more as 3 bidders have been shortlisted for the project so far. Also, Private Enterprise Federation kicks against moves to increase utility tariffs, insisting the companies have not done enough to justify any adjustments.
What we need are the financial support. If we get the financial support from various investors, we should be able to provide about 100 different areas, at least about 10 to 20 megawatts of electricity.
And as China begins exports of cocoa, we interrogate the impacts on Ghana's cocoa sector. We have details on these stories and more coming up shortly after this break. To stay. Hello, welcome back. I'm Charles Ayote. The about 1,100-kilometer railway connection between Ghana and Burkina Faso is expected to begin by the middle of next year. All things being equal. Now, this is a timeline from both countries as 3 successful bidders have been shortlisted for the project. It will open up trade between the 2 countries. And of course, we have a report from a bidders conference held in Accra.
The vision to have railway interconnectivity between the port of Tema and the capital city of Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou, remains a key priority due to its importance in accelerating the socio-economic growth and development of Ghana and Burkina Faso. The 3 bidders that were engaged at the bidders conference, which includes frontline investors Telubidi, Motor Angel Africa, and Siemens, are expected to submit their technical and financial proposals by July this year to enable the 2 countries continue with the process. According to Railways Development Minister John Peter Amewu, the project is on course as planned.
Projects of this nature takes into consideration your financial capability, your technical capability, your past experience, and your ability to demonstrate that you can do it. So a lot of things were taken into consideration by the experts, which are the transaction advisors, in making sure that we arrive at these 3 competitive concessionaires. Yeah. Of course, these deadlines are part of the critical parts, and they are necessary for us to arrive, at the date of commencement of construction, which is the first quarter of 2022. So it is key. It's a part of the critical part, and we are considering very, very important. We don't want to give any room for any of these shortlisted, concessionaires to come back on it. So, and that is why the pre-bidding conference today spelled out some of these details. And I think most of them are aware of the details that have been spelled out in the morning section, which they have to adhere strictly to.
On his part, the Minister for Transport, Urban Mobility and Road Safety of Burkina Faso, Vincent Dabiju, noted that his country cannot wait to see this rail line operating. He spoke through an interpreter.
Burkina is a landlocked country and we are... Yeah, okay.
J'allais dire que le Burkina Faso est beaucoup plus pressé que le Ghana même.
We have to say that Burkina is more urgent for Burkina than even for Ghana.
Voilà, là où je parle, le président Roch-Marc Christian Kaboré a déjà donné des instructions. Et chez nous, les terres ont été déjà libérées pour attendre donc le tracé du chemin de fer.
Okay, and our president has already given orders for lands to be liberated for this project to start.
Parce que c'est un grand projet qui doit booster donc l'économie du Burkina Faso et l'économie du Ghana.
And it's a big project that can help develop the economy of Burkina Faso and that of Ghana too.
The line stretches from Mpakadan through Hohoi and Yendi to the capital of Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou.
And we'll see how this one goes. Away from that, the Private Enterprise Federation is kicking against any moves to increase utility tariffs in the coming months. There are currently proposals by the various utility firms for an urgent adjustment in an upward way in tariffs to keep them in business and deal with the current power supply issues. But speaking on PM Express, the business edition, the chief executive, Nanao Sebonsu, says that these companies have not done enough to justify any increase.
Very, very important item in the provision of business services. And if you keep increasing it, we don't have much of a choice. It's like food.
Now, which one comes first? They claim that they need this adjustment to be in business, to continue providing that service.
Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at their books.
You don't think it's justified?
I doubt it.
You don't want it to increase?
No, I don't want any increase. I will go alternative. I just told you, we can provide energy to different players at below 40% below cost.
Is that where you're getting to in the federation, as in providing alternate power for your members?
In actual fact, tomorrow, we're having a dialogue with the Minister of Finance and others under the NDA, Nationally Determined, under the climate change facility, that we're pushing to be able to allow to get the resources. Key point is resources. What we need are the financial support. If we get the financial support from various investors, we should be able to provide about 100 different areas, at least about 10 to 20 megawatts of electricity to feed industries in those communities. And that will come below what ECG is charging. So we want to push, and we want to test, and we want to compete.
The companies say that is this push back. That is why we have, from private sector, from consumer, that is why we are here with this doing so. If we increase the tariffs to more market.
I'm not trying to knock anybody, but when you fail to reinvest and your equipment deteriorates, and you're now going to doom, so don't blame me that I didn't pay my fair share.
Realistic tariff prices.
Realistic tariff prices. We didn't set a price. We have PURC, and they set the price. So the private sector is a beneficiary or victim of PURC pricing.
You're still watching The Marketplace. South China's island province of Hainan has exported cocoa beans to Belgium for the very first time in history. That's according to the Chinese Academy for Tropical Agricultural Sciences. Now, the first batch of about 500 kilograms of cocoa beans worth 3,044 euros, that's about $3,600, was produced in the Xianglong, a township of the Hainan with a tropical climate, the China Daily reported. But the Ghana Cocoa Board has assured stakeholders not to panic about the news of China exporting cocoa beans to Belgium. Let's hear from Fifi Boafo. He's the public affairs manager of Cocoa Board, and he says that looking at the quantity of cocoa beans exported by the Chinese, there is no cause for alarm as it was quite small. In actual sense, it's less than even 1 ton. Let's take a listen.
Board is in discussion to procure a system that will be able to monitor rainfall pattern in the various cocoa growing areas and use it as a basis to advise farmers on when to do what, because the rainfall pattern determines when you are supposed to prune, when you are supposed to put fertilizer on your farm, when you are supposed to spray and all that. That is ongoing. Beyond that, there are these illegal miners who are taking farms that belong to cocoa farmers. Of course, Cocoa Board does not on its own have the power to stop somebody. But of course, there's a proposal before the ministry for an action where before you get the permission, for example, to bring down a cocoa farm to undertake mining activity, there's some cost and there are some actions you are supposed to undertake before you are able to do so. And these proposals are preventive, we believe, such that it will make it difficult for these persons to cut the farms down and then take over and use it for other purposes. In time past, if you look at the laws and the regulations and the conventions we've had, they did not seem to serve this purpose, for which reason this action has been taken. Of course, the general issue about illegal mining and illegal logging, that goes beyond the capacity of Cocoa Board, and I would like to allow people who are seized with the rightful powers to speak to that.
Right.
Yes, the issue, Nana talked about the use of technology, and I think it's a very valid point. But of course, it brings back to the fact that our farmers also have a little bit of a challenge in adopting new things. The classes we are talking about, for example, there are those who even tell you that, and I say, I feel but of course, we believe that it's human nature. And gradual interaction and education and sensitization.
That's Fifi Boafo, the public affairs manager for Cocoa Board. Let's now bring in the Agric Minister, who has also been talking about this new development to joy business.
Don't panic at all.
They've already exported chocolate.
Yeah, they exported 450 kilograms, not even 1 ton. Don't forget, Ghana produces 800, 900,000 metric tons. Cote d'Ivoire produces over 2 million metric tons. So that's nothing, really, to worry about. In any case, there's a limit to what the production that small island that they are producing on. And in any case, Ghana's output, the quality of Ghana's cocoa is not matched anywhere else in the world. That is why the world market is prepared to pay 15, 20, sometimes 25% premium on the world market price for Ghana's cocoa. So the Chinese or the Ivorians can produce all the cocoa in the world. Still, the premium on Ghana's cocoa will be maintained because it's unique to this country.
How about the EU's recent hint about banning Ghana from exporting cocoa?
Well, because of this galamsey, we are destroying our environment, and the world is concerned about that, and they are saying that we as a government should do something about it. I mean, we cannot sit and get these Chinese and other foreigners to come and destroy our waters, our forests, and so on. So for me, it's in the right direction.
The Agric Minister there, but what does this mean for the average cocoa farmer? Samuel Tetekobo is a cocoa farmer who owns swathes of cocoa lands in the country. He joins us via Zoom on his thoughts on this. Mr. Kobo, we're so grateful that he joined us. You've heard from Fifi Boafo of Cocoa Board. You've heard from the Agric Minister. As a cocoa farmer, how are you taking this news of China now exporting cocoa beans to Belgium?
Thank you, Radio Joy, and thank you, revered listeners. I believe that there is no need to panic about this China breezing into the cocoa commodity market. Why? Because, like the Agric Minister has said rightly, Ghana cocoa has its own premium quality, and we also boast of the best flavored quality. We've won international prizes on cocoa flavor as recent as 2019 Cocoa of Excellence. And believe you me, if they are coming onto the market, they will have to beat our flavor and they will have to beat our quality. But one thing we must be clear about is that we must do everything to sustain this quality and improve upon the flavor. If we do that, and we are able also to increase our maximum yield, then we will be able to stand up to them.
And that's where lie the concern. Are we as a country really improving upon the flavor of our cocoa beans? Are we improving upon the loss of cocoa farmers?
We can do that, but on the average, I think the important thing is we are holding our own on the quality and the flavor. So if we have to improve it because of competition from China and other countries who will be using artificial means to boost theirs, then we will only have to work hard with our farmers. The shed will have to do much, visit the farms, encourage the farmers, and I believe that Cocoa Board themselves have to add themselves to this particular aspect of working with the farmers to sustain the quality and then the value and the flavor. What can we do that? Let's go back and regrow the forest where the cocoa used to grow under those viable conditions. Let's not ignore that. Let's go back to that. We can use some part of the syndicated cocoa loans to help farmers to grow back. In fact, I believe that all these galamsey things that we are saying is affecting the cocoa. When the Agric Minister puts himself to task and we are able to work back this, Ghana will continue to be the leader, and whatever China or any other nation does, the world will still look at Ghana for our cocoa. This is my concern.
Well, Mr. Kobo, of course, we're having this discussion once again. I believe you have an Agric scientist by your side, but even as we have this conversation, he could feel free to join in. But we're having this conversation on the back of COVID-19 and its impacts on cocoa farmers around the world, especially that of Ghana. Already, cocoa farmers have specific demands and challenges that hinder their, need to be competitive. How are you boxing all this in, especially when you're having the second largest economy of the world, China, now venturing into your space?
Right. I think COVID has been a universal leveler, and nobody is exempt from COVID. But one thing we have in Ghana, which is helping us, is that if you come to the hinterland, it is as if there is no COVID. Our pure nature, our green nature, our dieting, our working habit defies COVID. If you come to the villages, they are just as normal as they are. But I'm not downplaying the effect of COVID. But nobody should take it away from Ghana. Ghana's cocoa is thriving. the villages, they are ready to work. All we need is to support the farmers with whatever we need to do. And I believe if you come to shed and they go to the farms, they are able to identify what the various diseases on the farms are, and they are able to capture them early. If we can support these young men on shed to do this with the farmers, believe you me, Ghana can continue to pride ourselves as one of the best cocoa nations with good quality flavor cocoa and also with the best quality of dried beans to the market.
Mr. Kobo, we're so grateful that you joined us. I believe you also have a scientist with you because I'm interested in finding out from him, your other colleague who's next to you, the nature of cocoa beans that we're talking about. Already we do know that there are challenges regarding the size, because already we do know that Ghana, yes, we have the size, but China is now beginning to make this production. We cannot debate along issues regarding flavor, but of course, the concern about how prepared we are to meet demand when China kicks in full scale.
Yeah, I think that we have been about 100 years ahead of China. And with the massive experience that we have, we still stand a chance to lead the market. I don't think that China's inclusiveness in the cocoa business will pose a threat to us. Like Mr. Kobo said, all we need to do is to continue to build the capacity of our farmers, to introduce them into modern technologies, and to also find ways and means that will be very innovative. If you look at our landmarks, you realize that we have a very large area where cocoa can naturally be cultivated. China, where now they have started cultivating the Hainan province, is not as very big as our area. And they don't lie within the tropics. They just lie a little bit in the tropics. So we still have the capacity. All we need to do is to identify cocoa as one of our biggest business, and then channel every resource, and then channel every resource into it. Secondly, there's a need for us to start building land banks, cocoa land banks, where we will enact executive instruments to protect those lands and protect cocoa trees. I think it's very important. If we see it that way, we will not give out those lands to galamseyers to destroy the land. So it's very important that stakeholders in it, both chiefs, landowners, and everybody will come on board and make sure that we build these land banks, conserve them, and then delineate them for such projects. When we see it that way, we'll still lead the market. I don't see the Chinese coming in as a threat to us, but it is up to us to see it as a blessing and then see it also as a competitive advantage that we will have over them, and do the best that we can and still sustain the market, and then continue with our business as the leading producers of cocoa.
Great.
And then find flavor cocoa and quality cocoa in the world.
Great. Gentlemen, we're so grateful that you joined us. Mr. Kobo, we're grateful that you had the chance to speak to us on this matter regarding China exploring the cocoa market in the world scale and its impact on Ghana. But let's still stay on matters regarding the agri sector, because post-harvest losses in the pineapple production remain a major worry to farmers in the Manto area of the Ashanti region. Farmers are wasting 20% of their crops because there is no demand for their produce. Prince Appiah traveled to Manso Esuwen to assess the situation and has come through with this report.
On this stone, Akwesi Anthony sharpens his cutlass as a regular routine before he starts today's activities on his 5-acre pineapple farm. For close to 15 minutes, Akwesi clears the weeds growing on the farm all alone. Jata, as he is popularly called, ventured farming when the government issued a ban on small-scale mining in 2017.
I was an illegal miner, but had to divert into farming. I tried cocoa farming, but it didn't work. I decided to grow pineapples, and they survived. I have farmed pineapples for over 3 years.
After unsuccessful cocoa production, he began pineapple cultivation on his family land all by himself. He has invested 4,000 cedis in this year's cultivation, but struggles to get buyers. Pineapple production in Ghana continues to concentrate in the central, eastern, Volta region and the Greater Accra regions of Ghana. There are few farmers like Anthony here in the Ashanti region who have decided to enter the market and make some impact. But for some time now, this 5-acre land of pineapple is struggling to get market. One after the other, this have become of most of the crops on this farm. They are rotting away because of lack of market. 30% of his pineapples are rotting as a result.
For over 3 years, I have cultivated pineapples, but sometimes I don't get people to buy the produce. At least I invest 4,000 cedis in every cycle, but the investments sometimes go waste.
You're still watching The Marketplace. We're taking a short break. We're right back to stay. And welcome back. MTN Ghana Foundation says it is committed to saving life through sustained fight against COVID-19. Since the outbreak of the disease, the foundation has donated PPEs worth 5 million cedis to the National COVID Trust Fund. And essential equipment was also donated to the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research to enable rapid testing and data processing. The Corporate Services Executive of MTN Ghana, Samuel Quarantin, disclosed this after donating 3,000 face masks, 1,000 coveralls, 15,000 pieces of gloves, among other items to Tema General Hospital. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has more in this report.
A year ago, when COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic, MTN Ghana moved to put in place measures to help curb the spread of the disease in its service centers across the country. Since then, MTN Foundation has donated PPE worth 5 million Ghana cedis to the National COVID Trust Fund. Essential equipment was also donated to Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research to enable rapid testing and data processing. $25 million from MTN Group was given to African Union to procure 7 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine for health workers across the continent. Out of the 7 million doses, Ghana received 165,000 AstraZeneca doses, which was used to vaccinate health workers. Samuel Quarantin is the Corporate Services Executive at MTN Ghana.
We have this morning donated over 3,000 face masks. We have donated gallons, over 50 gallons of alcohol sanitizers, 15,000 gloves, disposable gloves, 30 contactless thermometers, and face shields. So we're here to say a big thank you, and as I said, we're hoping that the donation would encourage our health workers to keep them safe and for them to continue in the fight against the pandemic. You would recall that recently we also announced that MTN Group have donated $25 million towards the fight against the pandemic by way of procuring vaccines through our partnership with the African Union.
Meanwhile, Medical Director at Tema General Hospital, Dr. Richard Anthony says the donation couldn't have come at a better time.
Tema General Hospital as a treatment center for COVID, we also see non-COVID patients, and these items have come readily to help us. Hitherto, we're not buying so many of these items. I would like to encourage every citizen who has the opportunity to get vaccinated for COVID-19. Most of our staff have been vaccinated, except those who have contraindications, particularly those who are pregnant. A few of them have not received the vaccination. We are feverishly waiting for the second dose, those of us who took the first dose. We've been assured that by May or thereabout, the second dose will come, and maybe other forms of COVID vaccine.
The donation at Tema General Hospital was not in isolation, as 29 other health facilities across the country also benefited. This has been Kwame Yanke's reports for Joy Business.
That's how we wrap up on the marketplace with me, Charles Ayete, for the week. It's been a lovely time being here and having you on board. For more news, you log on to myjoyonline.com, where, as you can see, we have so many stories from business, sports, entertainment, and politics. My name is Charles Ayete. Enjoy the rest of our programs.